Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video. Welcome today to the very first live action TV series that I'm going to be covering here on the channel. Something I've never done before. Anytime I've covered a TV series, it's either been an anime or a cartoon. I've never covered a live action TV series. I've covered many live action movies on the channel, but never a TV series. Until now. Welcome to Dragon Ball Fan Reviews Live Action One Piece. Okay, yeah, it's still based on an anime, but it's not actually the anime itself. It's the live action adaptation. What would probably be a more accurate title is Guy Who's Never watched a single episode or read a single chapter of One Piece reviews the live action, because that's basically that's the truth. I haven't watched a single episode of the show. I've not read a single chapter of the manga. The only previous One Piece exposure I've had is the Strong Worlds movie. And even then, that took me 4.5 years to actually finish. I watched the first hour of it when I got it in Christmas of 2015, and then didn't watch the last 50 minutes of it until April 2020, during the first lockdown. So yeah, that's all the exposure to One Piece I have. Until now. So, this live action covers the first 10 volumes of the manga. So that's a lot of story that the live action is covering. But I guess let's get into it. So I know bits and pieces about the One Piece story. Like, there are a lot of characters, familiar characters that I already knew. Like Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Shanks, Kobe. I knew all of those characters already. But going into this, I didn't know what to expect. Because before watching it, I'd seen nothing but unanimous praise of it on social media. Nothing but good things about the show. For a live action adaptation of an anime, that's extremely rare. That literally never happens. Of course, people would have been skeptical going into it because Dragon Ball Evolution, the Death Note Netflix movie from 2017. It seems live action adaptations of anime just don't work. But it seems One Piece has finally managed to break that curse. And how did they do it? By getting Oda, the manga writer of the series, to be involved in production. Who knew? Who knew all you had such a simple idea like that would help go a long way. So I'm gonna guess that some of you guys will know a lot more about One Piece than what I do, and you know the story a lot better than what I do. But the characters look very similar to what they do in the show. This live action does a great job of capturing the feel of One Piece with the characters. Everyone seems to have been cast really, really well. Luffy was a great character to be introduced to. I know the type of character he is from the show. And the like sense of adventure he always has in him, and how quickly he befriends Kobe. I need to get his name right. I need to get his name right. I thought he was called Cody for like the first 2 episodes. And then finally got that it was Kobe for the rest of the series. So I was, of course, skeptical like everyone else, even after hearing all the unanimous praise. But the action scenes for the show looked to be choreographed really damn well. Even if Luffy's stretchy arms, legs, and even mouth at one point still feels, no matter how many times you see it, still feels a little bit off-putting, because there's a reason why it was an anime. Because stuff like that just looks off-putting when done in live action. And it always did. That's not the show's fault, that's just simply the medium it was adapting from. There wasn't any characters I actually disliked. I thought they were all played very well by their actors. The show really does capture the grand sense of adventure, where Luffy and his crew are going to all these different places. And Luffy constantly exclaiming that he's going to find the One Piece and be king of the pirates. Yeah, he said that 24 years ago in 1999. Well, technically 26, if we're going to start with the from the manga version of the show. 26 years ago he said, I'm going to find the One Piece and be king of the pirates. Yeah, it's two and a half decades later, and he still hasn't come anywhere close to finding it. 1,000 episodes plus, and still looks nowhere near finding it. Although something I would be very interested in, and we wouldn't be seeing this, if the live action ends up covering absolutely everything in One Piece, we would not be seeing this for years and years and years. Like, easily over a decade. Probably longer than that. Maybe even 2 decades. Depending on how long it takes to make each season of the show. Gear 5 just happened like 3-4 weeks ago, and like everyone is super hyped about it. That would be very interesting to see done in live action. How would they do Luffy achieving Gear 5 in the live action? Because it's one of the biggest anime moments of the whole year. Some will argue the biggest, others will argue one of the biggest. So that would be very interesting to see. Something else I quite enjoyed about the show was something that you guys know I actually don't like when done in anime normally, if it's done for too long. And that's backstories. You guys know that, for me, a backstory for a character should last 1 episode, 2 at the very, very most. Because in frickin' Shaku no Shana, if anyone even remembers that show, 3 episodes in a row, I can't remember which season it was in, but 3 episodes in a row were just backstory and nothing else. And I was getting kind of bored of the show because of how many episodes in a row it was showing the backstory of. The live action for One Piece does a much better job because no episode is solely backstory. It keeps jumping between the present and the past for the backstories of different characters, such as Luffy and Shanks and how Shanks lost his arm. And then how Luffy was given Shanks' straw hat. Zoro's backstory of how he of how he and a girl were the two strongest swordspeople in their class, but Zoro always kept on losing. And even though he has his own two swords, the third sword holds a lot of symbolism for him due to the fact that it was her sword. And it's the one he puts in his mouth. That sounded like a madness out of context, but if you know the context, it doesn't sound weird at all. Usopp's backstory of him basically having the boy who cried wolf situation where he keeps saying the pirates are coming, but they never did. But then when they actually do come and he's saying it, nobody believes him. Nami's backstory of how she was taken in by Arlong when Arlong and his crew invaded Coco Village. And how she was basically kept prisoner by him and she had to steal the map to the Grand Line from Luffy to get back to Arlong. And Sanji's backstory of how he spent 85 days on a sole rock in the middle of the ocean. And the pirate captain, Zeph, gave him all of the food left that washed ashore onto the rock, while he cut his own leg off and ate his leg, which is why he has a peg leg in the present. So I actually did really like all the backstories for the show. And if we have to go on with villains, then my favourite villain so far that I've seen is definitely Buggy, the clown pirate. I really liked his introduction to the show, how it's all set in a circus, because he's a clown. I saw this quite funny meme of Belmod from Dragon Ball Super and Buggy from One Piece, and it said Dragon Ball and One Piece fans arguing, and it was just those two, because basically calling both sets of fans clowns, which was quite funny. But yeah, Buggy is my favourite villain that I've out of all of them. He's definitely the funniest villain. And there's no and he doesn't really have any competition for that either. The way Luffy is able to change people's minds and how every person he met that's part of his crew didn't want to go with him originally, but he manages to convince them and change their minds, and then they become part of the Straw Hat crew. So we're still missing Robin, Chopper, and Brook from what I can think of. Maybe we'll be seeing them in the second season of the show, because it probably will get a second season because of how successful the first season has been. Who knew Dragon Ball Evolution could have been a good show, could have been good if Akira Toriyama was involved at all. Evolution was so bad, Akira Toriyama had Super made just out of spite. But yeah, One Piece seems to have broken the live-action anime adaptation curse that so many different shows beforehand had not managed to do. And if you've noticed in the last few years or so, live-action adaptations of other media have gotten quite a bit better recently. I mean, the two Sonic movies, the Mario movie, were all great. Now we have live action One Piece. Maybe other shows that are having a live action adaptation done of them will follow in the footsteps of One Piece and show that yes, it is possible to make a live action adaptation of an anime and it actually be good. Even if at the very end of the credits, at the end of every episode, it says based on the comic book written by Ekarichi Oda. It's like, excuse me, it's a manga. It's not a comic. At least get that right, please. And that concludes my review of the One Piece live action show. Really damn good. Very undebatably probably the greatest anime live action anime adaptation there's ever been. Although it wasn't competing with very much, was it? But One Piece has kind of set the standard. Again. One Piece just loves setting the standards, doesn't it? For what a live action adaptation of an anime can do. And that's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. If you've watched this, tell me what you think in the comments. And until next time, catch you later.